The revolution will not be televised.
The revolution will be streamed live.
What's up, everybody? It is another episode of Critical in Thinking with Ty Barnett.
And Ian Harris. How you guys doing? How you doing?
Hey man, every day it seems like it's a struggle.
I'm trying to get through it. I'm trying. The thing, man, it just gets every day. I mean, this has been going on for almost 2 years. Every day I think it can't get any worse, and I can't be more surprised.
And then you're surprised.
It's like, I got to stop saying that. It's like every day. It's like, well, tomorrow they're not actually going to eat babies on live TV, and Trump would be like, babies are delicious. They're great for you. They're not white babies. It's okay.
And then you have Trump supporters like, well, don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's better than them black people getting on them food stamps.
What's the difference between that and chicken? Okay,
Yeah.
So I'm the same way, dude. Like, and his was weird. To me, I told you, honestly, this is when the term ignorance is bliss. I honestly sometimes wish I was still ignorant because I wouldn't be as weirded out. And I don't like to use the word angry because angry to me implies that I can't control my emotions. I can control my emotions. It's just I'm more weirded out that this stuff is happening. Do you understand right now, just so you guys are clear, this is not made up. This is not something that is a left or right thing. This is a fact. The GOP has concluded that Russia did meddle in the election with
Trump, for Trump.
And it says that they specifically said to help this dude.
Yeah.
So as opposed to this guy saying, okay, well, America, let's figure this out. Well, you do a Trump way better than me. Okay, America, let's figure this out. Sorry, they did do this to try to help me out. They said, no, we're going to fly over to Russia, more GOP people, Republicans.
Seven of them.
And then they're going to have a meeting. But hey, man, are they going to have this meeting?
And Trump is also going to meet him one-on-one.
Trump's going to meet him one-on-one. But are they going to do this meeting for everyone to see?
Yes.
No. They're going to do this meeting behind closed doors with no one seeing. Do you understand? This motherfucker is movie villain bad. That's how bad the movie. This is. I'm telling you, if you created a character, if you were writing a screenplay right now and you wrote down, all right, this dude is misogynistic, he's racist, he's money hungry, he's corrupt, he's easily corruptible, he corrupts other people. You don't think part of you as a screenwriter would be like, okay, no one's gonna believe that guy.
It's like, is this a comedy? Is this Dr. Evil? Because this is.
You just described Dr. Evil.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I think Dr. Evil might even be smarter.
Yes.
1 million. Actually, they kind of do talk like.
So here's what we're going to do because we're kind of behind the clock on this. What we're going to do, because we had a special guest, and we're going to give him a call here in a second now.
Give him a call right now. So, yeah, we got, should we say who it is? Great comedian.
Oh, man.
A legend in comedy.
I am excited. We're calling him right now, Mr. Rick Overton. I am excited. I can't even tell you. When I found out that I could get this guy, you don't even know. So hold on. He's going to answer his phone here in a second. Hello, Mr. Overton.
Hey, Don. How are you, buddy?
I'm going to give you the proper intro here, just so people understand who you are. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited because I actually got this guest, and I was excited to have this guy on. Super funny, been in the business both as a comedian and an actor for so long, and he's in one of my favorite movies, by the way, Groundhog's Day. I didn't tell you though, Rick. I watched it the other day, and he can currently be seen on I'm Dying up here. Everybody, let's welcome to the show, Critical in Thinking, Mr. Rick Overton.
Yay! Clap, clap, clap.
Thanks for inviting me.
So Rick, just so people understand, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, that in today's society, you have a lot of people who are very divided on politics, and we've always had this, but not so much as we are today, at least not that I can remember. You may have more history on this than me, but as an entertainer, do you find, because you've maintained a great career, but you also are very outspoken on your beliefs politically, and I wanted to know, how have you been able to do that, or do you find that you have gotten backlash from saying what you say?
Well, I might have gotten some late night backlash. If anybody wants to check out in several sections, my half-hour 1991 HBO half-hour is up on YouTube. and you can see the different sections of the stuff I was talking about back then. And comedy, it was a pretty well-received special, and then everything just kind of dried up a little bit late night wise.
Oh, wow.
Got a little tougher to be a stand-up, and so we drifted off into acting more, which is another thing I do, and so I focused a little more on that, but I didn't ever give up on the stand-up as a message delivery system. It just was tougher to get on certain venues, TV-wise, to do it there.
Okay.
Right.
So I think I might have traded out some late night time, which traded out some late night time leads to special time,
Right.
leads to
Booking time.
club time, because you book from people seeing your special and you're able to fill seats.
Right.
So, some of that traded out. I don't know what I traded out acting wise.
No, because you're working. You're on the show right now.
Yeah. That's so I don't think that part got given up. But my stand-up career, I think, got given up a little bit for it.
How about nowadays though? Do you think when you go up on stage now, do you think the crowds are more, less, or the same as far as being sensitive? Like I remember, I love political comedy. I've always done a lot of politics. I've always talked about stuff that you're not third rail topics, and for the people for the right that always says that we're the snowflakes and that we have no that we're so politically correct and we can't take a joke. Man, I even mentioned Trump on stage and I got people yelling and walking out, and I just wonder, like, did you notice a difference nowadays for the sensitivity of audiences?
Yeah, everybody's I think people are in shock, and people are able to walk around in shock and shop in shock and drive their car in shock and get the kids to school in shock and stay in shock the whole time, especially a culture that keeps repounding you and hitting you again and shooting here and terror there and poisoning here and this there, and you know what I mean, a war there. And so you're bombarded, blitzkrieged until your nervous system is in a constant state of sort of numbed out shock.
Yeah, I'm glad.
It makes you a little easier to manipulate.
I'm glad that he used the word numbed out, because that can also be said for normalizing. And Ian was telling me something. Would you say earlier that who was on Bill Maher, and they said something about how when he
Ben Shapiro, the right wing asshole. He had said, it was last week on Bill Maher's show. He had said something to the effect of that he didn't vote for Trump the first time, even though he's a conservative, but he might vote for him this time. And he said because his concern was, even though he liked Trump's policies, he agreed with his tax cuts and this and that, he feared that Trump would bring about a degradation of our society and our moral fiber and our moral standard and all this sort of stuff. And he feared that, so he didn't vote for Trump. He goes, but now that that's happened, well, that's out of the way. So now he goes, well, now I might vote for him because I like the policy issues, and the shit that I was afraid of happened anyway. So,
So let me ask you this, Rick, because like I said, you know more about politics than I know, just because, I said this to Ian earlier, I said, sometimes I really understand the term now, ignorance is bliss. Like I'm like, man, I kind of wish I didn't know a lot of shit, because I probably would be in a better mood about life. But for you, because I've never experienced this as a comedian. Like, this is the first time as a comedian. I've been doing it like 18 years or something like that, 18, 19 years. This is the first time as a comedian that you go to specific venues and they say to you, don't mention politics. Like, I've never experienced that before. Have you ever? You ever experienced that?
Yes, I have, and sometimes it's good advice. Sometimes you should listen to them.
Right.
Yes. And they say don't do it, and just find other ways to get into their heads that don't make them storm out angrily.
Right.
It is. It's important to be able to speak your mind, but also know who you're talking to. And you can't be Ripley, who walks into the den where all the eggs are opening up in Aliens, with Newt in her arms, a flamethrower and a grenade belt. And
where's everybody going?
All the eggs to go ha 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 and laugh. And sometimes you got to know what not to do.
Right.
And to trigger things. And the challenge becomes, what else can you do for them?
Right.
That then reaches them in a way that was your conscience could live with,
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't, some comics, they just want to go, well, screw all you people, and you don't know what you're doing. And I proudly walk home with the lonely muted trumpet soundtrack, knowing I did what was right, even though I destroyed everything.
Right.
And there's that version. There's
I don't know what you're talking about.
The dating is weird version, what's up with shopping and
women be
the
shopping.
save your ass version. But then there's what else is going on with them that sort of gets into their head just a little bit, that you start to put that crack in the dam, it's knowing the room well enough to know. And it's just like, you understand the psyche of an aggressive male, that when you square off and both your hands go up, what are both his hands going to do?
Yeah,
they're going to go up.
Both his hands going to go up. He's prepping for the game you're establishing for him.
Yeah.
So I always try to remove aggression where it looks like aggression gets us nowhere. I always have it. It's always sitting right there if I need it. I'm not opening with it. That's not wisdom.
Right.
Yeah. No. You don't.
So, right. And sometimes the aggression comes in the form of challenging a belief system that they walked in with that night.
Right.
I always feel like that.
Yeah, there's a balancing act to that. It's where do you do it? Where's the room you got to do something else besides that, but that you kind of dug away at it,
Okay.
Right.
In a way they didn't realize. Sometimes it's not always literal. Sometimes you have to hit at it in a figurative sense and make them look at other open-minded things until they agreed with three of them.
You know
Right.
what?
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's funny because you do have to navigate through these things a lot more. And I'm glad you said that, because, when you start out, especially nowadays, because it's already a challenge in general, even before you start talking about politics, because people are walking in that room and they're like, hey, man, I've never heard of you. Make me laugh. Or even if they've heard of you, you better make me laugh. So it's always that challenge there. And I remember when there was a point where you could just kind of go in and say whatever you wanted to say. Now, like you said, you have to kind of navigate through it. Let me tell you something that I did in talking about this guy on stage sometimes, where I had to change up words. And you know this, Rick, like you have to change up your presentation to certain people. And I used to go in with just, I can't believe this, like shock. Like you said, I go in with shock. And now I changed the word, and I told you this about a certain joke that I do. And I say, well, I used to think that I hated this guy. And I used to think that's what it was. I said, that's not what it is. I said, I'm jealous. And do you understand, when I use the word jealous, anybody that was folding their arms automatically stops, because they want to know why I am jealous of this guy.
Good.
Right.
That's good messaging.
And so
it's relating to the human factor within it.
Right.
Yes. And so to what you said is like, you do have to go through trying to figure out how to get this across. And so so you say you haven't seen as much of pushback in in your acting world. Now, do you think that is in part because actors now have become the targets of this administration? But I also want to get to something that Rick said to me earlier about the left as well, because he said that it's on both sides. But I also feel like the right still kind of holds the crown on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But
they hold the crown. They hold the crown on a sport that only one side should be known for playing at all.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But do you think
there shouldn't be any competition?
No, not at all.
Unfortunately, there is a
And
little
there
bit right
is.
now. Yeah, you're right. There absolutely is, and
But do you think, and specifically to De Niro, well, I mean, Susan Sarandon, these, Meryl Streep, all of these people have come out and said something. But like, I notice when I see people say stuff like when De Niro came out and said, fuck Trump, but like people who you would never think would say, like I've heard people say De Niro is overrated. I'm like, it's fucking Robert De Niro.
Yeah, Meryl Streep. Didn't Trump say that Meryl Streep is overrated? Yeah, the greatest actors of all time, possibly overrated.
So let me ask you this, Rick.
I have to go with the basics of overhead camera views.
Okay.
Of Obama's overhead camera view of his inauguration to current POTUS's overhead inauguration camera shot. That's scattered, looked like instead of looking like a solid block, it just
Right.
looked like a Jackson Pollock splatter of people.
He actually had to comb people over from the other.
Comb it over.
He was a comb over
That's
audience.
hilarious. Had to comb it over. That's great. But to me, that's the demographic that the media has inflated to appear like it's a hologram of an actual numeric opponent when
Right.
it isn't. It's the actual numbers aren't the same.
Right.
And I think right now people are backing out.
I
Really?
hope so.
Not being told that we're being. I know people who are not as vocal as they used to be on my page. Not at all.
Well, I think that's part of the big problem, though, is social media. First off, social media emboldens you. I've had this conversation with multiple people. I have friends on, and we've all probably seen each other's. I think we're all Facebook friends. We've seen each other's posts and people argue. And I have friends who know my friends that they don't know. They're like, they'll be like, "Hey, who is that Bob guy that's always on your page? That guy's a real asshole." Like people know my Facebook friends from
They
being
start
assholes.
to become famous. Yeah.
Yes,
right.
it's absolutely true. And the thing is that it's funny though, because some of those people I actually know, like in real, with Facebook world, you don't always, or Twitter world, you don't actually know who you really know. I actually know some of these people, and on Facebook or on Twitter, they're just like, "You should be raped. You're a bastard." Like it just crazy. And then you message them, and they're like, "Well, I just think that we just disagree." Blah blah. Then you get
And
together
that was
with
a
them.
debate about pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
I call that courage.
Yes, exactly.
Car courage.
Because then you get
the windows rolled up.
exactly, and then you get to with them one on one. They're like, "Well, I just think that," and all of a sudden you're like, you almost agree, and it's like, wait, 2 weeks ago, we're diametrically opposed, and if I disagreed, I should die. And it's like the further degree you get away from one-on-one conversation, the more emboldened people are to just say crazy shit. And I think when you see all this crazy shit and people sharing memes and sharing stories, and half of those stories are fake Russian news or Fox News or whatever, and you see these people only read the headlines, and then the headlines become a meme. Eventually, we get this weird, distorted way of the world, and you think, oh, everybody thinks this happened, or that it's more people than it is. And in reality, you look at the polls; it's 70% are normal.
The media inflates certain dynamics.
Absolutely.
For sales purposes, and ratings purposes.
Right.
Who knows what else? But as a start, those are two easy go-to follow the money lines towards manipulation.
Absolutely.
And so I certainly think there was a big threat. I just think we outnumber them like ants to a candy bar.
Yeah, we just got to actually do something, though.
Okay, to that point, to what you just said. So we talked a little bit earlier, Rick, about this, but I want you to share this with Ian and stuff. We know where the right is, and we know that for the most, I'm talking about the worst of the worst. I'm not saying everybody that's a Republican. I'm saying the worst of the worst have thrown away morals. They've thrown away facts. They've thrown away truth. They've thrown away all that. They don't care about any of it.
Polarizing.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
the bar magnet, like way at the end of the bar magnet.
Yes.
Well, it's the people that say Obama caused the division, the racial division, and the racism in our country, and it's like, yes, he actually did by being black.
Yes,
that's all he did.
Thing. So let me ask you this, Rick, on the other side, because at the end of the day, this has to get fixed. But like, we can't keep having this. I mean, now, yeah, I believe we've kind of reached the point of no return with certain people. Like, you can't unknow people who were cool with people with kids being put in cages. You can't unknow that. But
well, we've lost we're going to lose a few people this cycle. Prepare for perhaps decades of having known someone not being enough anymore.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
It may no longer be the guaranteed you're made for that.
Right.
You're not made for that reason anymore.
So let me ask you,
And like there's people who losing all their naturalization, friendship naturalization's on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
That's my anchor friend.
Hey, man, I'm not gonna lie. I got 2 or 3 people, man, that I do not talk to, and I still consider them cool. I can't talk to them because I know what they've committed. But now let me ask you. So what would be your advice, Rick, for people on the left for this upcoming election? Like what needs to change? Because something has to change on the left. There's no way you can just not.
Let's really define what we're talking about. When we say on the left, let's not call the middle part the left.
No, not at all. I'm talking about people who, the radicals on the other end who don't want to listen to anything. Yes, they are part of a problem. Just like you said, they're polarizing.
Well, no, I'm saying the people in the middle are the problem. The ones who say, let's go right to the dead center are going to fuck everything up and make it 2016 all over again.
Really?
Isn't up to me. It's not in my hands. I have nothing to do with this. I am merely the messenger. When you attend a Bernie rally and then, hey, everybody, let's go get over to the gigantic Joe Biden rally. Sure.
No, but I agree and I disagree with you, though.
Whistle in distance.
I agree and I disagree. I think the problem is that it's both the left and the center left in that.
Yeah, corporatism's going to kill everything.
And the thing is that at some point we have to. I was a Bernie supporter. I raised money for Bernie. I did, and then when it came down to it, I voted for Hillary because that was the option. And I know, and this idea that this false equivalency that she was as bad as Trump, it's patently false. We have empirical evidence showing that it's not the fact.
It's not up to me, man.
And
you don't have to explain to me.
And the bottom line for me is like, everybody has to
explain it to.
Right? But no, but it's like, how do we get everybody on board?
That way.
I know.
Millions disagree, and if the majority doesn't agree.
Right.
Not going with them is not their stubbornness problem anymore.
No, I agree, but at some point we have to say
about the demographic numbers.
Right. But at some point,
have the numbers, and every rally was absolute proof, and Bernie did have the numbers, and then look, this is absolutely the DNC's complete fault. That's why they threw Debbie Wasserman Schultz out to try and get rid of the problem, and it didn't go away. It isn't up to me. Millions know the actual real story, and the middle will fuck it all up all over again if people don't swing hard left. I mean with all the real progressives down the line.
I agree, but whoever we have at the end, I'm for you. I'm with you. Whoever we got to swing left, but whoever we have,
I promise that we want unity. All that,
right.
All that will fail. It'll go face down.
Yeah.
If they didn't actually go left. If they sneak a corporatist in, it will fail. It's like trying to explain why ice will melt on a hot day. I have no way of stopping that once you put the cube out on the.
And I actually think the center left people will vote far left. But I don't think the far left people anymore will vote for like the Bernie bro types will not vote for a Hillary, but the Hillary people will vote for Bernie.
Factor that in.
Yeah, because see now
up to me.
that I think will happen.
If it's a threat, count it as a real one.
That's why I'm running for president.
If it's a serious threat, count it as a fucking serious, real threat.
Yeah.
And lecturing won't fix it. Scolding won't fix it. Only going along with it will
fix it. Did I see was this?
Treat it less real.
Did they say it was like 40% of people did not? Was it that high?
Didn't vote.
I'm not sure about that. How do we know real voting numbers?
Well, yeah, that's the problem.
All the adjusted votes that we have dealt with from the primaries on.
Well,
all kinds of chicanery going on.
I believe that number, but you also have to factor in the fact that 30% of people don't vote every fucking election.
Yeah.
So it's really like it was only like another 10%.
Factor them in.
And that's
treat math like real math. Treat the numbers like they're real. If that's the case, then be logical. Be a general looking on a board with all the pieces on it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's
ruthless about it.
It may be 30% of the population that can vote or that is registered to vote. But if they never fucking vote, stop calling them voters.
Right.
Because they don't vote.
So
look, I mean, if there's nothing we can do about them, get really realistic about what you can do about the rest of it.
Yep. Exactly.
Let me ask you this. Rick. I posed this. I actually made the statement back to Ian. If you had a choice, knowing the current state of where we are now, knowing that there are certain people who don't care about information, they either don't care about the information or they don't care to research the information. If you had a choice to pick someone's vote to count, would it be a felon who has not committed a violent crime? Let's just say blue collar, like stealing money or something like that.
Sold some weed.
Yes, exactly. Would you, if you had to give a vote to somebody, would you give it to the felon who was educated in the political system in the world, or would you give it to someone who has never been arrested but they are clueless about politics?
Not all knowledge about politics is a good thing. a lot of insiders with all their inside knowledge have been the great ruiners of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just means the dumbest shit people that only watch Fox News.
Well, no, I mean, like,
Mejia is moving up in the ranks, and he's getting started, but he's one of the new Bernie guys coming out of the movement. And when we say Bernie people, really what we're talking about is Occupy, that thing that is like a puddle of mercury. You can't destroy it. You hit it with a hammer, it just goes everywhere. It's a group of people that now have a certain amount of data that you cannot take away. It'll never go back in the box. There is no tricking or bullying that'll work. There is no coercing or fear mongering that'll work. Right. Only bending to their will, because there's more of them than anybody else, and that's the most American thing of all.
Uh-oh.
Well, you know, it's I'll tell you what, though. I mean, I honestly think we should encourage everyone to vote, because we outnumber them by it's 70% to 30%. But and we should, and everyone should have to vote.
I do it. My page is filled with messages about it.
Yep. Now, here's the thing too. We were talking about earlier about Maxine Waters. I don't understand. I've seen people on the left, or at least Democrats, blasting her, and I'm like, I don't know what she did. All she did was tell people the truth and say, and you know, say go out and you know, be vocal. Don't let your voice. I don't know what
about Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And Nina Turner. I mean, there's people out there who are really extraordinary new voices that are bringing a lot to the table, and a lot of energy and vitality, and years to go.
Yeah. Well, who's the girl that just won in New York? There was a girl that just won in New York that's 28 years old.
The Bronx, the girl from the Bronx.
Yeah.
She's got a great future for her.
Oh yeah, and she took out an incumbent Democrat who should have been gone. You know,
This is what the people really actually want. They don't want that old company bullshit anymore, man. They're sick of it, and anything that reeks of it in any way, big money, champagne clinking party, you're dead to this.
Agreed. The downside is there are people who are kind of corporatists, that are kind of that are Democrats. There are a few of those. There are a lot of those actually that are in politics. That their voting record isn't down the corporate line, but they would get rid of Citizens United. They would do stuff, and we're against. And a lot of the people on the extreme left, like, you know, my friends, they don't want any of those people in there. I'm like, no, we need those people that are already there. We need to get as many people on the left, wherever they are, center or really left, to vote out shit like we need to get rid of this gerrymandering. We need to get rid of Citizens United. And if you don't vote that way, you're fucking out, period.
You know, and here's the thing. The Republicans pretend to be strong.
Right.
And the Democrats pretend to be weak.
Right.
They fake it. They're feigning weakness to do it, to bend over, to let themselves be trampled by the opposition.
Right.
It happens over and over. All these things we keep wishing and hoping they'll do when they promise they will, and they don't.
Right.
And we always get tiny little shred piecemeal until we're like the dog that isn't free but is happy to see when the owner grabs the leash, because that means then they get to go out.
Right.
And that's the only happiness we get. And the thing is, if more and more people don't want that anymore, it doesn't matter what we say on this show.
It's
going to go the way they need it to go, and they'll let whatever falls happen in between. Our only chance of surviving what happens next is to completely roll with what they're going to do.
Can we fix this?
Who knows?
Is it fixable in the next year or two?
Well, if we don't do.
Look, go ahead, please go ahead.
I'm just going to say, if we don't do something, and here's my thing, and I'm right with you I'm right with you, but I'm also, I know I'm contradicting myself. I'm with you, but I also disagree on some level that I think right now, if I honestly had my choice between knowing that no one that the same shit was going to happen with Trump again, or getting a fucking a group that's center, obviously, hopefully center left, I would take that in a heartbeat, because I really think we're about 3 or 4 years away from being a dictatorship. And I think if Trump wins 2020 and we don't win a majority back in at least the House or the Senate in 2018, I think that motherfucker's not leaving office. I think he's going to be a president for life, and we're fucked. And if we don't do something soon.
Then here's what's got to happen. It isn't about scaring the other people into it.
That's not going to happen.
They will view that as extortion.
Right.
It isn't about deadlining them.
Right.
It is about completely getting what they're talking about and rolling with it.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Only way. You won't fix this with a middle guy. It's because there's now scientific proof that doesn't work. Our last cycle is that evidence in and of itself.
Right.
So you have evidence, hands on. You can see it, feel it. We felt it. And it's going to get worse if we go to the middle again and they show no sign of changing.
Yes.
So it might, I can't give you the slightest answer on what comes next, except I know what seems like the math of this equation.
Well, and the reason why I asked you that is because I went through a phase where I really just couldn't process what was happening. And I was like, man, is it because this is people's nature and they're just opening up to their nature? Or is it really the lack of education that's out there? Because again, like I'll give you a prime example. I posted something on my page about it was the picture of the lady yelling. She had the Make America Great hat on and she was yelling, and the picture made it look like she was yelling at the kid. Do you remember seeing this picture, Rick?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I posted something about that. And again, I posted it because I saw the picture.
Right.
And to me, and someone who I research, I do whatever, I make sure I do my research, but for some reason I just posted the story and I say what I say. But when I landed, when I got off the plane, I saw these posts and someone posted a clip of the actual story of what that lady was saying. And so even the kid said, well, no, she wasn't yelling at me, but she was there kind of hyped up, but she wasn't saying these things like this. So I immediately wrote something on my page, said, hey, I missed the mark on this one. I didn't have all information, and I took the post down. So to me, I feel like if you're open to stuff like that, then I feel like there's hope. Do you see, this is the question to you, do you see people that have information in front of them and they just say, you know what? I don't care what's out there. I am just going to go with because I've seen people
almost
post
everybody
on
on the
people's
right
page. They will post something on their page, say, hey, no, this is the correct information. And that person doesn't correct it.
Right. I always correct it, delete it, or I leave it up there and say, yep, this is just like you did. Say this is my mistake. I never see that from my friends on the right, ever.
So let me ask you, Rick, do you feel like...
war between your childhood programming and cognitive dissonance and everything else around it ever beyond that moment on, forevermore.
Okay.
It's how you're formatted as a kid, and then those goggles are data processing every event and judging and slamming the gavel down and sentencing all these events.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I honestly, and that's why I told you, not everybody's going to get all the information right. And you're right. We're inundated with a lot of information all the time. And a lot of it is BS. The people that don't take the time, and this is on both sides, the people who don't take the time to look at everything and say, okay, now I'm going to make an educated decision based off of this. And that's why I asked you if it was going to get better, because again, I'm still tripped out by the fact that we have literally the most information at our fingertips, and we're the dumb.
It's getting better. Citizens are getting more justice than the big news networks or your consumer defendants. You know, I'm your consumer advocate on this network, and I'm going to go find out what's wrong with this toilet lever. And, the Flint water is turning into, lava and sludge.
Which is actually true.
Yeah,
the consumer guys giving you bullshit about stuff I don't give a fuck about,
Right.
Yeah, well, but part of it, though, like you're saying, Ty, the problem is that, we have all the information at our fingertips now, but that also means that we have all the disinformation and all the misinformation at our fingertips. The problem is
that with regular TV too.
Right, but I would say back in the day, before Reagan changed the way news was run, we used to actually have to have this thing called journalistic integrity, and they actually had to have facts. It wasn't about whatever bleeds leads, and it wasn't about the fear mongering culture of let's scare the shit out of them so they watched.
Man. I mean, Walter Cronkite fucked up Vietnam.
Yeah.
He ruined Vietnam by bringing back the real footage, and no one could argue with Walter.
Right, exactly.
To that point, and this is why I say it's crazy where we are now. Remember, Rick, and Rick will remember this more than both of us, but that's for a good reason. When if Walter Cronkite said it, that was it. You didn't question it. That's what it is. Yeah. If he makes this announcement, you better believe that's the news.
Yeah, because they had people who fact check things. They didn't report nonsense. The idea was not to sensationalize. I mean, how many times you watch the news now and it's like it'll be like coming up at 11, shark bites, whatever, blah blah, and then you'll watch all this news, and then the very last minute they go, yeah, so there was a shark just swam by and bumped a boat. All right, good night, guys. And you're like, we stayed for 30 minutes to watch a shark bumped a boat because we saw a shark bite. Did anyone die? You know,
it was clickbait for TV.
That's right.
Absolutely. And the thing is that there used to be, and there's still some publications, there's still some newspapers out there that the journalists that are real fucking journalists that cover real stories. But the problem is that because there's so much bullshit out there, the real stories are the ones that you have so many people going, fake news. Oh, you're going to believe the New York Times or whatever. And it's like, well, no, this guy's a real fucking journalist. Oh, sure, he works for a liberal paper.
I'll put Jimmy Dore up there with all of them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I know Jimmy, yes.
Everybody, you listen to Jimmy, Dore. Look him up on YouTube.
I know Jimmy.
And Lee Camp, I'm going to be doing his show next week.
Wasn't he was on Jimmy was not InfoWars? That's not InfoWars.
No, not
InfoWars, but it was,
Young Turks.
Young Turks. That's what you go. They're two opposites. Sorry.
UIT, the Young Turks.
Yes. Those are two opposites.
Network is also really good too. Everybody should check that out, and don't just go with the thing that have Missile Guidance Systems Company funding all the ads and owning the network, you know?
Well, first of all, I don't want to keep you. You stayed longer than we planned, and I appreciate that. So, go ahead, tell everybody how they can see the great and wonderful Rick Overton. Tell them how to reach you.
Well, you can see I'm on YouTube. I got some funnies I put up there, and on I'm Dying Up Here on Showtime.
Yes.
And we're coming up on episode 10, and so binge the heck out of that.
Okay.
There's some amazing performances coming up from comedians knocking it out of the park. Brad Garrett is smashing.
I love Brad. We work together.
Unbelievable, like award-worthy stuff. Watch him just destroy with. You'll cry, you'll laugh, everything incredible. And Kathy Ladman and. Dana Gould, Andy Kindler.
Okay,
that's
cool.
Amazing. So
I love that, man.
Smashing work out of everybody.
So one, I want to say thank you, dude. And Rick, I got to tell you, man, I honestly was genuinely excited to have you on the show because I've been following you for following your posts for a while. We've known each other for, even longer than that as comedians.
Yeah, that's right.
And like I said, I respect your opinion. I wanted, like I said,
thanks.
Like I told you initially, I truly, as a person of color, I truly appreciate you using your voice as a person not of color to help everyone else out there. You don't even know how much I appreciate it. So I want to say thank you.
I'm honored. I'm an ally. I'm a pal. You're a good man.
And as a white guy,
proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you.
And as a white guy, I'll see you at the meeting.
I'll see you at the meeting.
Thank you, Rick. We appreciate you, man. Take care. Hey, and go see that movie.
Yeah, I got to check that out. Now we'll have another conversation about that.
All right, that's what's up, man. Take care, bro.
I look forward to the next one. Thanks.
Cool. See you, Rick.
Bye, guys.
So
the awesome Rick Overton, you guys. We got a few more minutes left here before we get out of here. And it was interesting to have Rick on because, like I said, I wanted him on because I knew that he was critical of both sides.
Right.
He's critical of the things that the left need to do and the right. So what did you take? Did you come out of that conversation with Rick feeling like there is hope for 2020? Or we are still in a shitty place?
I think we're still in a shitty. I think it's a little both, but he is definitely on the. Here's the thing. I just had this conversation with a friend of mine via message, whatever. Politically, I am on the far left. Okay, pretty far left. Like I'm a rational dude. Like I don't align with a lot of stuff that far left people. Like I'm not an anti-vaccine nut. I'm not an anti-science people. That people on the far left. A lot of people that are on far left have wacky, non-scientific beliefs about like GMOs and organic food and all this nonsense. That
the planet,
it's all this conspiracy theory shit. That it's like all the follow the money and big pharma's out to steal your babies and all that shit. That's complete bullshit. But policy wise, I'm like super left, democratic socialist left. But I also have to be rational and and being a Bernie supporter, being somebody who when it came down to it and Bernie lost, and I know that people say, oh, he was the primary was stolen from and all this stuff. Bullshit. I know people. I saw the polls. I was there. I have 8 separate friends that worked polls in California that were seeing what was coming in and saying the turnout isn't this Bernie wave. Sorry. Nobody hid fucking ballots. They didn't come to us and say, hey, let's take those ballots and stuff them over here. I know 8 separate people that worked at polls that said nothing weird went on. We've done this for years. It's the same shit that always happened. Bernie fucking lost California. Sorry, he fucking lost. And I was pissed. I was upset. But then I went and I spent 2 weeks researching. I looked up Bernie's voting record. I looked up Hillary's voting record. I looked up all the shit about the Hillary's the Clinton Foundation and all this stuff right here. Oh, the Clinton Foundation rapes kids and they take money and they give it to the Koch brothers and they poison your water and all this nonsense. And I read all of it. All complete fucking nonsense. And I have so many friends that are on the far left going, no, man, they do this and they're just as bad as the Republicans and they're just as big business and they're just in. And I
fucking hate when people say that.
And I go,
just
look,
as
yes,
bad.
they have corporate ties and they have some fucked up shit. But if I have the option of a fucked up corporate person who's done some fucked up corporate shit to get to the top, who wants marriage equality, wants legalization of marijuana, wants a universal health care, who wants all these things and at least says those things, I need that person over what the fuck we have right now.
Yes.
And here's the thing is if we vote Hillary or whoever the fuck in and they don't do the things they say, then we vote them the fuck out and get somebody else in. Or we vote them in.
Like it's supposed to be.
And we vote them in, and at least we keep ourselves from becoming a fascist dictatorship under Putin for another 8 years. And we move her ass to the left by showing, hey, look, this is what we want. And we move them, and then we vote in new people, and eventually we move everything to the left. Instead, what we do is fucking baby-ass liberals. We go, I don't want her, so I'm not going to vote. Okay, so you're going to have fucking Trump in there for 8 more fucking years?
And then
go
they'll be mad
yourself.
about what's going on with him.
And then they'll be pissed going, we got to do something. Motherfucker, you stayed home.
You had a chance to do something, you didn't. Here's what tripped me out, and I had I saw a comment from somebody, and this is what scared the shit out of me. Actually, and I should actually ask Rick this, but 2 things. I saw a comment where someone said they were talking to a liberal, and they said, "Oh, you just mad because you lost." You know what? And this is what the Trump supporter said. They said, "Well, shit, I don't care what he fucks up as long as it pisses you off." Understand that. I don't care what the president of the United States fucks up in America, as long as you are pissed.
An American who I disagree with on a couple policy issues.
and that to me is scary. But here's the other thing, and this is why I started the thing with asking about how entertainment has changed because of the current state of politics. I saw 2 things, man, where in contracts for gigs, and this is 2 other comedians that said this to me, in their contract, it said they asked specifically not to mention the president.
Right.
Don't say anything about the president. And people don't understand how big of a statement that is. Right. That's never happened.
No.
And but Lyndon B. Johnson. Is it Lyndon B. Johnson? Yeah. Lyndon B. Johnson used to get roasted by the Smothers Brothers. Yeah. And that dude did not say, hey, don't talk about it.
There's memes about it, him saying, if you can't, you have to be expected to take this shit as a public figure.
So when people
what about Clinton? I mean, come on, you're going to tell me, how many hack fucking 90s comics had a career on, I didn't inhale and I did not have sexual relations with that woman. That's a fucking career for 9 fucking years.
Let me tell you what it is, and I know we got to wrap this up in a second. We don't want to go extra 8 hours. So... This is an inside joke, you guys. But here's what trips me out. Is like, so now do you see this wave going this way? And because you think every other president, there's never been this type of thing where someone says, but this is why. This is my gut feeling of why you have this kind of backlash. Because they know what people are saying is right. There's not one person that is just making up random shit about this guy. Nothing. Right. There's no jokes that came out of the basis of this dude that were based in falsehoods. Did he talk about grabbing pussy? Yes, he did. Is he a horrible speller? Yes. Is he a narcissist? Yes. Is he corrupt? Yes. Does he lie all the time? Yes. All of this stuff is. So here's my whole point. The reason why you have people that don't want you to talk about this guy is because they feel bad. Right. Because they don't have anything to defend it with. So let's say you talk about Obama. You don't think Obama had jokes? Obama had jokes, but he had other things about him that were good. Right. To where you're like, okay, well, you don't like Obama. Well, at least he did this.
Well, that's the thing. Can't say that. For us being the snowflakes, I know tons of people. I know liberals who have Obama jokes. I know tons of people who did disagree with Obama, who you do an Obama joke. Now, if it was just some stupid hack or some racist joke, it's not funny. No. But I mean, I literally sat through 9 years of people going, I did not inhale, all these fucking Clinton jokes. And it's like, so, and I thought they were fucking stupid. I didn't think they were funny, but there were a couple funny Clinton jokes out there. There were some funny Obama jokes. You can't even say, so Donald Trump's our president without somebody going, shut up, faggot, I'll kill you.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I mean, that happened to us in Oregon, remember?
Yes.
Like, literally.
Just the announcement that he's the president got us, and people got upset. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. And I want to say thanks again to Rick for joining us on the show. And this is just my thing. And I told you from now on we're gonna do this thing to where we both have something to say to help move stuff forward, because we don't want to just be guys that complain about the current state of what's going on. We have to figure out something to. Well, that's 80% of the show, right, and then we got to throw in a little bit of ninja for other people. So my thing is to move people forward, and I'm gonna keep stressing this: empathy. Empathy is. I can't even tell you how important empathy is now in society. If you are rich, don't look down on people who are not. If you're eating every day, don't talk shit about people who are not eating. Right. Try to understand what is in their situation, because when you make that person better, you make the world better. Everything moves forward when you help these people. The term "pay it forward," we love to go see the movie and pay it forward, it's so great. Haley Joel Osment is. But when we leave, we don't actually practice that. Right. Empathy is what we need to move stuff forward.
And you need to be active. You need to get out and fucking vote in November 2018. We need to vote, because the gerrymandering is not going away. We've got the Supreme Court's fucking hijacked again a second time, and the gerrymandering is not going away. It's probably going to get worse. They're trying to do not vote for this bullshit California split it up into 5 states bullshit. That's the gerrymandering on fucking steroids. Do not fucking do that. And you have to get out. You have to fucking vote. We are 60 to 70% of the population, hands down, that want all the shit that everybody else wants. That's right. They don't want fucking illegal abortions. We want fucking we want health care. We want care for veterans that come back. Elderly. We want proper education. We want all that. We want Medicare, Medicaid,
all the stuff that makes sense.
70% of the country wants that. So, and these people are hijacking it. So you have to get out and fucking vote. And like the show's called Critical and Thinking. Think and fucking be critical. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be a cynic and that you just go, oh well, follow the money and then fuck it and then walk away, or oh, it's conspiracy. And no, think about shit. Do the fucking research. Okay, when you see a meme,
read
and read multiple sources. Check the sources. And you know what? And Snopes is real. Snopes is an actual fact checking source. So when people start telling you, yeah, but you believe Snopes, that person's a moron. Run away from that person, okay? Because Snopes there are other there's several fact-checking sources out there, and you can check multiple and cross-check those and decide, look, they're all saying the same thing, and the only one that's not saying the same thing is fucking InfoWars and Fox News and all this other natural news and all these other nonsense fucking blogs.
Stop with the tribalism. Yes. Please stop the tribalism, because it's not helping. At the end of the day, just so you guys understand, even though if you voted for this guy or you didn't, at the end of the day, he is the head of one country. You live in one country. So whatever laws they make, whatever policies they throw out, it doesn't matter. It's not like if you vote for him, none of that affects you. Right. It affects you. Please stop acting like it doesn't.
And if it's getting us, if you think it's funny, that I voted for Trump and at least I won and you got your ass kicked. Well, guess who else is getting their ass kicked? You, because you live in the same country, dummy.
Damn straight. So this has been Critical and Thinking with Ty Barnett
and Ian Harris.
Vote.